Hey everybody, we are here live counting down the launch of God of War. It comes out in 90 minutes, Ramon.
Yes.
On PlayStation Store. There's still time to go pre-order. You can get that preload process going, and that's going to be coming up on PlayStation Store in 90 minutes. But coming up right now, we've got a big show.
Big show.
We are celebrating the launch of this game as only PlayStation can. What do we got in store tonight, Ramon?
How about we reveal a new feature nobody knows about? Photo mode.
Photo mode
is coming
nice.
to God of War at a later date. We're going to talk a little bit more about that. We've also, no spoilers.
No spoilers.
If you're watching with us, there will be no spoilers. However, tons of exclusive videos and content that you haven't seen. We're going to have tons of special guests. That's why we have all these other chairs. And we're giving away something for free $99, a PlayStation avatar.
That's right. Log in on live.playstation.com. We're going to have a secret word coming up, and there's a special avatar. You'll be able to type that code in, get that avatar. You're also going to get a look tonight at rare early gameplay of God of War before it was announced at E3 2016. So, Ramon, I say we get to it.
Let's get to it.
Rated M for mature.
My son, we do not fight because the world makes us fight. We fight for a greater purpose. We forge into the unknown to fulfill the promise we made. No matter the darkness, nothing will stand in our way. Again.
PlayStation.
Welcome back to our countdown to launch. God of War is coming out tonight in just under 90 minutes on PlayStation Store, and we've got some special guests in store starting right now. Corey Barlog, creative director. Thank you so much for joining us. And we've got Chris and Sonny, no less than Kratos and Atreus, joining us here in the flesh. Gentlemen, it's such an honor. Now, I want to talk a little bit about these characters of Kratos and Atreus. And obviously, Kratos, super, super well known to PlayStation gamers everywhere. But this is a little bit of a different side of Kratos than we've seen before. Isn't that right, Corey?
Yeah. I think when I came back, we started talking about the game, and one of the major sort of overhauls we were looking at was to take this character that kind of had that one dimension and explore the multiple dimensions of Kratos, which I thought was a very exciting challenge.
So tell me a little bit about the process that you sort of underwent, kind of identifying, not only kind of a new place, a mental place for Kratos to inhabit, but also just sort of the look even of Kratos. This is a different side of Kratos in a number of ways.
Oh yeah, the sort of visual look of Kratos underwent a massive sort of undertaking. We had years before he ended up looking like he looked. I mean, when you start seeing some of the early footage, you can see the evolution was not an immediate one. We knew what we wanted, but we had a long road to get there.
Yeah,
and all of it was rooted behind this concept. Sorry, I'm interrupting.
No, please, go ahead.
But it was rooted in the concept of showing a side of Kratos that we glimpsed in the first God of War, but we sort of went down that vengeance path. So this was really the opening up of the inner life of Kratos.
Now, Sonny, actually, interesting story. So you obviously play Atreus, and it's a really powerful performance. But you were actually first cast, weren't you?
Yeah. I mean, I'm just super lucky to be in this project, and definitely just to be with Corey.
You got the gang back there.
But no, yeah, I'm super grateful, and I'm surprised they picked me out of all these other weak actors. No, I'm joking, but
easy choice. We didn't audition for that long, and you were one of the early auditions and bowled us over almost immediately. It was wonderful.
Actually, no, when I did do the first audition, I wasn't sure it was a game. I just thought it was like a movie.
Right, but the both of you, neither of you had any idea.
Yeah, I had no
We're
clue.
terrible at explaining ourselves, right?
So God of War, this is very much a father-son story. And what's super important in any video game or any medium to tell that story, the chemistry between these two characters.
Yes.
Let's talk about that.
I think any story, any performance, it is the chemistry between the performers, the chemistry between the performers and the director. Like it is something that you have to pay such close attention to kind of get the performances that you're looking for. And I have been very fortunate that every aspect of this game I've had incredible people to work with, and you two are absolute forces of nature. So it was an interesting process because, again, he was the first one cast, so really he was the arbiter of whether or not Chris was going to get cast.
Oh, interesting.
He was the final say that we were like, I don't know, maybe Chris will get cast, and we better talk to Sonny. And if he says yes, we're good. If he says no, we're not good, man.
Which he still holds over my head.
Right.
It's like it was
I think we've actually got a really cool behind-the-scenes clip showing kind of a big moment between the two of you. So let's check that out now. We're seeing some artwork here from Kratos. He is, this is sort of the evolution of the character. Right. We'll get back to that other clip here in a minute. But this is actually really interesting to see just the evolution of this character.
This is showing you, like, at the early phases, the influences that we had and the different ways we were sort of envisioning Kratos. That is one of Jose Cabrera's first images. Those were the inspirations, right? That first image really kind of drove us towards the end goal of what Kratos was going to look like, and sort of involving all the different brilliant character artists and visual development artists that we have at this studio. We began that slow road to get to the final look of what Kratos looks like, and honestly, it really evolves all the way up till the end. So probably even 8 months ago, we were tweaking and messing with stuff to get that final look.
Gotta get that beard looking right.
You gotta get that beard looking just right. I gotta tell you that.
That's a 4-year beard, right?
Now,
good stuff.
I wonder what the process for sort of developing Atreus was like. I mean, tell me a little bit about how you came at that.
We didn't put a lot of effort into it.
Just kind of slapped them together? Yeah.
No, I mean, we were doing sketches, so I was asking the visual development artists, I said, what would Kratos' son look like? So what would Kratos look like at 10? So we started drawing that and kind of building
before the
that,
murder,
right? So we had done a bunch of drawings, and some of these drawings are showing, I had used a reference from Legend, I think, and one of the characters kind of even looked very close to that. And we were never really hitting something that I was connecting with as a character, and then, Sonny did his audition, and I immediately told Yumi, who was in the audition with me, I said, look, we need to have his likeness. I want him. He's Atreus, right? He is Atreus, so we need his face to sort of be scanned and embody this character. And fortunately, you totally said yes to that, so...
Yeah, so if you imagine...
No
take the hair
takebacks.
off. That's a trait.
Yeah, that's great. So, yeah, back to that point about sort of chemistry and kind of you two working together. I mean, I think this is a father-son story. I mean, that's what this is all about. So tell me a little bit about, how you kind of got into that headspace. I think, Chris, maybe you'd be a good one to talk about that.
Well, for me, it was just about trust. And one of the first things that we did, one of the first scenes that we did very early on, it was quite an emotional scene, and I really wasn't sure how far emotionally that we wanted to take Kratos. And so I went to Corey, and I said, I really don't know how far away from the original Kratos you want to take this. And he said, let it rip. He said, let it rip. And so it's very easy for me to get into that headspace, having children of my own and having sons of my own, and issues about not spending time with them when I was younger, when I thought work was the most important thing. I just choose to never go there because it's painful. And this is the first time that I've really used that substitution in anything, and it went a lot further than
it was beautiful.
I thought it would.
It was beautiful, and it led to some pretty emotional days on the set, which is fantastic. I thought it was wonderful.
Well, remember earlier when I teased an emotional sequence? I say we watch that right now, get a little taste of what's in store.
Yeah.
Not fit to be a father. No matter how hard I try, I cannot Change it. I have become everything I never wanted you to be. Run. Run far away from me.
But you have changed. You're not a monster.
That is exactly what I am.
Not to me. You will fail. How you deal with it is what makes you stronger. My father taught me that.
You should lead the way.
Wow. Wow, that is
that was wonderful.
powerful stuff. I mean, you
Nothing but
guys.
truth in that.
I mean, did you guys like kind of develop a bond as you worked on this game?
It was. I mean, it was pretty immediate.
I think like the first time we just like rehearsed together, I definitely clicked like right away.
And you weren't afraid to get in his face either. I thought that was.
That
Right away.
that was what was amazing to me because I couldn't use any sort of size intimidation, voice intimidation, anything. He just wasn't having it. So it was weird to see someone or perceive someone as a child, but truly, I mean, intellectually and how you interact with people is so mature.
You're like a 40-year-old man.
Exactly. But yeah, it was quite remarkable, and not to have to break down things. Like when you would talk to us, you would talk to us a lot of the times as a tandem, and not have to say, I'm talking to a man in his 50s and a boy who's 10, 11, 12, whatever the age was. But you would talk to us about the dynamics of the scene, and you would just get it. And I'd be looking at him like, wow, I definitely wasn't like that when I was his age.
You get it with the
Yeah.
yeah. Oh, okay.
I got it.
Like I got it.
Yeah. Or what'd you say?
Right.
And I love, I played a lot of the game, and I love the character of Atreus. It's such a powerful sort of character. So I think we have another clip here behind the scenes that's actually going to show off a little bit of a different side of Atreus when you see it in the mocap and performance capture studio. So let's check it out.
Awesome. Again, go deep. Okay? Remember that moment. If you gotta take time to get there, that's fine. I don't mind keeping it rolling. But really, after that kill, take the time. And they're gonna take their cue from you. So that sunburst isn't gonna happen until you feel everything there, and then you look at him and you're totally ejected. Alright? Everything else, you got it. It's totally your own.
I can't.
So, this is the one. I think you have had it in each one of those, but this one's for posterity. So this one, just make it absolutely real, right? So remember that you just killed that thing. It's not alive anymore. If it's got kids, they're all alone. So, think through that. It sucks. I know, right? Use that. Okay.
Oh God.
All right, so,
Just
so
powerful stuff,
orphan kids now after you killed the deer.
I feel horrible for that. I walked away and I almost cried because I was like, I'm like, what am I doing? But you nailed it in that take after that. So.
It took way too long. I could not get in my feelings.
Really? Because you did amazing. So you were fooling me, man.
We always joke about who would or wouldn't have even come in if we had known up front that this was an audition for a video game. Because I had no,
auditioning
and
for
neither
a
did
game.
you, did
Yeah,
you?
no clue.
no idea. I was reading the sides and the latest, and I was like, this is fantastic. Like, this has got to be like some big A-list movie. Like, why am I going in for it? Like, I literally like told my agent, there's no way I'm going to get this movie. She's like, what are you talking about? It's a video game. I was like, what? I was like, no. The script you sent me was not a video game. She's like, yeah. I was like, wow, this is incredible. But then those expectations also, by what you read, are somewhat dampened by your previous experiences in playing video games, where whatever is said is just a
like Def Jam. Right.
Why you got to talk about my old stuff, dog?
Right. I'm going to I'm going to the hits.
Corey been waiting to say that.
D-Mob. When it's often just a segue to the battles or the fights or what have you. But in this, it was like it's an integral part of the experience, the feelings, and I would have never, in my wildest dreams, ever thought that as a performer, I was probably more invested in this than anything I've ever done. Not probably. I mean, truthfully.
Oh, it shows.
That's beautiful.
It's all there in the game.
It's all there.
I mean, I think, this is an immortal performance from both of you. And I actually thought it might be fun to sort of immortalize you in a different way. So I wanted to show actually some you two are going to be immortal in a different way. There's some emojis coming out next week on iOS and Android. Can we check out those emojis? They are super, super cool. We're going to run those here in just a second. But how does it feel to be immortalized as emojis?
Whoa.
You're an emoji now.
You're an emoji.
That's crazy.
You've made it.
Sticker packs will be available on iOS and Android. Should be next week.
I mean, it looks just like you.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
I mean, absolutely just incredible. And I mean, it's got to be interesting for you guys just seeing just the hype around this game. The fan response has been absolutely off the charts. I mean, what is that like for both of you?
I'm just still like shocked on the emojis. I was just looking at the emojis.
For the next 3 hours.
Yeah.
You're an action figure now, right? That's crazy.
This is crazy. I mean, I forgot what these things were called. They were just like little like bobbleheads.
Like the Funko Pops or something?
Yeah. And I was super shocked on those. They're super cool, but no, I'm still processing like that. Even though I've been filming this for 5 years now, almost 5 years now, I'm still processing all of this, and I just can't even express it, honestly.
It's wild, isn't it?
Exactly.
It's really an honor to be involved in the two greatest fandoms on Earth, gamers and sci-fi.
Yeah.
I mean, that's kind of the pinnacle of fandoms, and it's just to be celebrated in this way. I mean, I'm giddy. I mean, it's almost. I was telling Corey earlier. I almost wish that we had another week before it was released. No, I know you guys don't. I know you guys don't. But just to
be fair, I sort of nodded in it, but I think my need for sleep said no.
Yeah. But just to be in this space, how often in your lifetime are you ever going to be celebrated like we're being celebrated now for something that you've accomplished? It's really it's giddy times.
Yeah.
Even around when I came in today, I was like, what is this place? There's people smiling. There's no air of tension. But yeah, it's fantastic. It really is. And to be on this crazy journey with like great people, like literally, like we all, everyone says this, but I mean, for all the serious times, we had an equal number of times where we just cut up laughing.
Yeah.
It was, and to balance that is, I think, one of the most difficult things in this business. And it all starts at the top.
Well,
Truly.
So I'm so happy to hear you say that. I mean, that's such a great compliment, you know, and you know, it's been an honor having both of you on here just to kind of talk about your process and kind of what you brought to the characters of Kratos and Atreus. So thank you so much and congratulations on a really historic launch that is now about an hour away, I should add.
1 hour away.
1 hour away. So,
let's do this.
gentlemen, thank you so much.
Don't leave me hanging. Don't leave me hanging. Every time.
We've got lots more show coming up. We're going to have a look at some advanced combat tactics. That's coming up shortly. But first, Brazilians are known for their love of God of War. There is a rabid fan base in the country of Brazil. So we thought it would be interesting and fun to take a look at the actor who has played Kratos in God of War in Brazil as he prepares to take on this new God of War.
Wait, there's someone else?
We were not supposed to say that.
Pode ir, gente. Pode gravar.
O que está fazendo? Agora ficou alerta. Só atire. Só atire quando eu disser para atirar.
As primeiras coisas que eu percebi do Ascension e desse novo God of War é que até então a gente só conhecia aquele Kratos que matava, que gritava o tempo todo. E nesse novo God of War ele tá mais tranquilo, ele ainda tem aquela raiva, fúria, mas tá mais contido, tá mais paternal, tá mais paizão. Então eu tive que equilibrar isso bem na interpretação para fazer de uma forma que fosse convincente nessa nova versão.
Ah, desculpe, vai lá de novo, mesmo lugar. Ação. Ok.
Encontre seu caminho. Você está livre.
Viu como em alguns momentos ele tá mais suave?
Essas mudanças foram benéficas pro personagem e pra franquia, porque agora ele tem um filho, ele tem um legado. Ele já matou muita gente, ele já se vingou. Chegou a hora de seguir adiante, chegou a hora de conquistar novos mundos, chegou a hora até, de repente, de uma redenção, por que não?
Não somos homens. Somos mais que isso.
Eu acho que é importante que existam as vozes em português e latino-americana de uma forma geral, porque a imersão, quando você está jogando um jogo dublado, é muito maior. Você pode perceber coisas no cenário, coisas no jogo, que são diferentes do que se você olhar para baixo para ler a legenda. A parte favorita de fazer o novo God of War foi fazer o Kratos. Eu não tenho palavras para descrever o que eu senti fazendo esse projeto. E a parte mais empolgante é saber que a expectativa é gigante. Todo mundo quer jogar esse jogo, todo mundo está esperando esse jogo. Muitos acreditam que vai ser o jogo do ano, então eu sou um desses e é isso aí.
Ela te ensinou a caçar. Estou com fome.
Thank you, sir.
Hey guys, we're back here. We're counting down to the launch of God of War in just about 1 hour on PlayStation Store. That's 9 p.m. Pacific, midnight Eastern time. We're broadcasting actually live from Santa Monica Studio. That's the studio that's been with PlayStation for many, many years. They have put together God of War, and very excited, big honor for us to be broadcasting here. In fact, we have a couple of new fresh faces here from San Diego, or sorry, I was thinking of you, Santa Monica Studios combat team. We've got Mihir and Jason. So you guys work on the combat team. You're the ones kind of polishing that Leviathan axe to a shine in God of War. We wanted to take a moment, actually quite a few moments, and really walk through some advanced combat techniques. So let's get to that gameplay. I know it's what everyone's interested in seeing here, and not this face, that's for sure. So tell us a little bit about like your general approach to just the combat and the mechanical feel of this new God of War.
Yeah, I mean, I think the first thing was that we wanted a lot of choice in this game. We wanted to make sure that when you enter a combat scenario, it doesn't play out the same way. Every player plays it differently. We want to make sure that you can do a lot with what you got. And in this video right here, you see one thing that you could do right away without even upgrading a skill or doing anything. You could freeze enemies with your axe, slam them into objects, they shatter. God of War difficulty, they don't shatter because it's a little bit harder, but they actually still does like about half their health. So always something worth it to do. It's something that you don't even need to upgrade anything to get.
is getting me all revved up just watching this, because the combat in this game is so visceral. It's just crunchy. You just feel it. And you know, even fans of the older games, they're going to recognize some of the rhythm of some of this. There's a lot more depth going on here, and a lot more
sweep with the bow.
Yeah, that Atreus is such an interesting addition to combat as well. I mean, maybe talk a little bit about some of the things that Atreus can bring to the battle.
Yeah, so just there, you know, we saw Atreus following up on the Draugr in front of you. He'll come in occasionally and assist with tripping enemies or even jumping on them and choking them for a bit and holding them in place. He's really an essential tool to combat, especially on harder difficulties. I think when people start playing the game, you know, they're kind of overwhelmed with Kratos and his abilities, and over time they learn mastery over Atreus and learn that the two work together as a unit. And so you can also direct him with the square button on the controller, and you can tell him to fire arrows, and you're in control of when he does that. And there's a lot of tactical uses to doing that. So even the sequence we just saw, he was holding an enemy in place while Kratos froze an enemy, kicked him into the other enemy. You know, it's like there's a lot of combos that you make up on your own as you go. It's more of stringing your skills together.
Yeah, we just saw that we're seeing tons of advanced moves. We saw this double axe throw. Could you talk about that for a second?
Oh yeah, so if you aim at somebody's head, we wanted to give you some rewards for that. So if you, because you're hitting them in the head with an axe.
As one does.
Yeah. So you hit them in the head with the axe, it spins them around, so that does a lot of things for you right there, where it presents their back to you. If you hit them in the back, it does more stun, which allows you to grab them faster. If you don't do that, there's a skill that you can get that will give you the ability to power up your axe on that headshot, and then you can throw it back, or you can walk in there and get some frost on a hit.
That's awesome.
So it's almost like kind of depending on how you want to play this game, you could really go with sort of the close quarters brawling, you know, whether with the axe, really investing in the Leviathan axe, or you could invest in the fist and the shield and get that stun damage in. Or you can go more for the long range combat with the axe. So I mean, tell me a little bit how those three all kind of work together.
Yeah, I mean, that's one of the things with the axe that a lot of work has gone into, and we're pretty happy with the outcome, is that it's a very versatile weapon. You know, we're fans of many action games ourselves, and we were thinking like, well, let's say if you're a fan of this game, how would you play with the Leviathan axe, right? So whether you want to charge the axe up by holding R2 and doing the Executioner's Cleave, which is a super powerful single hit damage, and you know, let's say you want to do more stylish kind of comboing attack, you can juggle enemies in the air, you can keep them in the air, you can even use Atreus to help do that. So it really opens up to a lot of possibilities, and one important thing for us as well is that there can be, as we call it, like high-level play, but really skilled play. So keeping it accessible where you can pick up, have fun with the axe, throw it, recall it, but then you can also maybe, you know, look at a stream online and be like, oh, what is that guy doing? How is he doing that? It's like, oh, he's actually aiming the axe at an opponent's, you know, foot, and he's tripping them. And when they're tripped on the ground, that allows you to reposition and get behind them. So there's a lot of potential for how people use the weapon.
Have a buffet of ways to chop stuff.
Yeah, just so we're going for it. Yeah.
Originally, we described it as a buffet.
It's a buffet. Something that everybody is going to get the experience when they play this game is the axe recall. I think when I first started playing, I just started throwing the axe at dudes' heads and kept recalling it over and over.
Yeah.
The way it feels to recall that axe feels so good.
It is that combination of the sounds, the camera shake, the controller vibration, everything just fuses together so perfectly.
Like, yep, I got him in the face, and I'm gonna get him in the face, and I'm gonna chop your arm off.
So real quick, that was a runic attack right there, and that was Hell's Touch. It's one of the early ones in the game that you get. So, you know, so we've got axe, we've got fists, we've got throwing the Leviathan axe, we've got runic attacks. Like it's just, the game just keeps stacking these concepts on. Tell us a little bit about how runic attacks fit in.
Yeah, so runic attacks are Kratos' more powerful attacks with his axe, and they have a cooldown associated with them, so you can't do them over and over again, but every single one of them has something that they do pretty effectively, whether it's hit AoE, like everybody in the crowd, or deliver a lot of frost, or boom, a lot of stun, or damage, like they all have their purpose. That one in particular is good in this room, because this is the room that, in various playtests and just watching everybody play, this is where everybody dies, typically.
This is a tough one. I instantly remember this room. It's just a creepy scene here.
No spoilers.
No spoilers.
They're showing advanced combat.
That was part of the intent. I mean, we really wanted this section to be that little bit of the punch to the nose that says, if you've been getting to this point by just smacking the buttons, you don't get to go any further, because you have to start paying attention to the entire battlefield. You have to break the horizon and look up. You have to keep an eye on who's around you and where they're repositioning.
And just decide like how you want to take this on, because as he fights, like guys are going to start, you know, spawning in, and you can control when they spawn in. If you go and hit them right away, they'll spawn in right away because they're kind of in these frozen statues and they'll wake up when you hit them. Or you can kind of try to keep them at bay while you try to kill everybody else fast. There's a pit on the side, you can use that to knock enemies out. There's a kind of rage stone on the ground that you can pick up and use that now or save for later. So this room kind of represents a lot of the choices that you're able to do in combat and gives you a lot of enemy types to try your...
Atreus out here doing work.
Now here we go. This is one of these grabs, these R3 grabs. Oh, I love that.
Yeah.
So satisfying. This shield too, I mean, just overall, Corey, you and I have talked about this before. There's a little bit more of an emphasis on sort of strategy and having a plan of attack. Yeah. You know, I mean, and it's just interesting to me to see somebody far better than I am at playing this game, but just kind of how they're stringing these things together really effortlessly like this.
Well, even what he did right there, where he pinned the axe in some enemy in the distance, then kind of lined up the other enemies, so when you called it, it goes through all of them, and that kind of keeps them stunned a little bit, keeps them locked down, so they're not all in your face. On harder difficulties, that stuff is important, because without doing that, all the enemies rush you down, and you'll have a hard time.
So that's kind of what I was alluding to earlier in terms of kind of high skill or high level gameplay, is that you can throw out the action, we call it, but knowing how to move and where to move, you can get a lot more bang for your buck with each of your mechanics. And so even using the camera, like that's one of the big changes that we have to combat versus combat in the previous games, is you're in control of your camera, and we treat that like a mechanic. So even when you're hitting enemies, depending on how you move your camera, where you look, you're directing enemies in that direction. So if you know there's an area where you can, there's a ledge over there, you can knock enemies out, you can actually direct and push enemies in that direction.
Interesting.
Do a strong attack, like a strong, powerful runic attack, and knock them all off.
Yeah, one thing you get the hang of, I think, as you play is that when you attack enemies, they start moving towards where the camera is facing. So what he's saying, if you want to direct them towards a wall, direct them towards a pit, or things like that, if you aim the camera kind of slightly in that direction as Kratos is attacking, he will start kind of pushing them in that direction.
And even
you can take advantage.
when enemies get behind you, quick turn.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's a quick turn.
There is a quick turn.
Down on the D-pad.
Down on
I
the
didn't
D-pad.
use it nearly enough when I played.
That's why he died so much.
Pro tip.
But we're not going to talk about that.
Okay, we got these are those heavy draugrs, and these guys are just brutal. I really struggled with these guys. I found stun damage to be particularly useful against them.
Yeah, you can, if you manage to stun one of these guys, you'll pick them up and start running, and you can throw them off the cliff, or you can run with other enemies, things
There
like
we
that.
go. That's the way.
Yeah, there we go. So it makes
Yep.
work of that guy.
See you later.
Yeah.
They are tough.
These enemies really force you to get comfortable with dodge and sidestep so that you are all about continually repositioning, because their moves are not blocking most of them.
Yeah, so that yellow flash that you're seeing when they do an attack, that actually indicates that the attack will break your block. So if you're just sitting back and holding block, they're going to break through it. But if you time your block and you parry that attack, by just pressing it at the last second.
This slow-mo effect here, that is that's some sort of ability.
Yeah, so that's from a talisman. So we've cheated a bit in this video. This is actually showing a few abilities that you get later on in the game, but we wanted to show off some of them. And so that comes from a talisman, which is an equipable item.
Oh yeah.
And that talisman, if you evade at the last moment before an attack, you enter a realm shift.
Like another game out there.
Yeah, like a game that we are fans of.
Big fans of.
Aren't we all? This is some of that sort of trademark God of War climbing here. I really like the approach to climbing in this game. It feels good, you know? It's tough to do, I think. Every game's kind of got its own approach.
A lot of the traversal navigation, we wanted to take those opportunities to really get to know the characters a little bit more. So as you're climbing, as you're going through the boat, you have these tiny little micro conversations, even moments of silence that actually give you a bit more insight into the characters and kind of where their relationship is at that point in the journey.
Yeah, really cool. And this, of course, is the Revenant. This is one that kept me up nights. This is difficult. This is where Kratos is actually kind of, not super well equipped to battle this enemy alone. So again, this is where Atreus can really come in handy and sort of disrupt her before she can kind of teleport away.
Yeah. That's really exciting for people to see, is how adept Atreus is at helping you in all these fights.
No, that was very important to us. We wanted to make sure that our companion kind of fit the God of War theme of a lot of combat, and he's got to be a part of it. So we wanted things where, like earlier, he was just tripping guys and doing things for you on your own that you can kind of take advantage of. Or with cases like this Revenant, you have to actually command the sun to attack with his arrows, so you can stun her and lock her down so you can do some damage.
Yeah, and if you do not use Atreus for those Revenant fights, that is a tough battle.
You're just going to die.
Yeah, pretty much.
It's going to work out for you.
And a small tip there for fighting the Revenant, a lot of players, fighter, they know that when you press square, you command Atreus to shoot the arrow. Her shield goes down, you can go get a few hits on her, but they tend to spam that square button and use all of their arrows. Just use one shot and pace it out, and then you can make sure that you can always keep going after her.
Excellent.
Patience.
Yeah, so
I don't have any patience. I waste all the arrows.
You waste all the arrows. So we have some questions.
We do.
Those?
We looked at a certain forum online and
Should we?
questions.
What forum is it? Should we say it, or we just want to answer the question?
I think
Various
people know.
They'll figure it out. They'll
Assorted
figure it out.
forums.
know.
All right. So question number one:
You will stay out of
Are
the
there any
way.
differences in the invulnerability windows of the evade and dodge roll when playing on different difficulty levels?
This guy's not messing around.
He's not messing around. He's going
hardcore.
Hardcore.
It's a no-joke question.
The answer is no. Kratos is the same Kratos regardless of what difficulty you're playing on. The invulnerability windows are the same. The way that his block works is the same. So it's really, it's more that when you're playing on a higher difficulty, more skill is required of you, and you need to know how each of the abilities can be used to their best potential.
There is one small thing that changes where on other difficulties we kind of help Kratos slide towards targets a little bit more friendlier. On God of War difficulty, we really wanted you to position a little bit more deliberately, so we kind of lessen that just a bit.
Nice. Question number two: How is physics systems involved in combat?
Physics.
Yeah, so we actually, we use a ragdoll system on the enemy reactions that they take from getting hit. So there's been a lot of feedback online about enemies, getting hit and flying back into walls and kind of flopping over rocks and such. So we actually did a lot of work to merge the reaction systems to use that ragdoll system.
Awesome. Here's another great question. How is the stun system developed? Does it achieve its goals of incentivizing diversity through juggling, barehanded attacks, Atreus, and environmental interactions?
Yeah, so I think it does. So a while back, we didn't have a stun system. We had a different method of Kratos grabbing enemies. But we had all these techniques, whether it be hitting guys into the back or hitting guys into walls or doing all sorts of things, and we didn't really have much advantage for doing it. We'd be doing it and it looked great, but you wouldn't get any rewards. So once we added the stun system as a way to kind of throw enemies whenever you want, as opposed to other God of Wars where you had to wait until they were low health, it kind of gave you reason to do all of those things that require a little bit of depth and a little bit of challenge, but there's lots of ways to do it and lots of ways to get it up there, and the best reward is just seeing Kratos rip guys in half. So.
Nice. Last question. This is probably my favorite question because I love doing this mechanic. When in development was the recall mechanic added to the Leviathan axe? How significant were the changes to combat once it was added?
Is that from Sunni Legend?
It is.
It is. It is. It is.
Legend, love your videos.
Yeah, so that was a game changer of mechanics. So that was actually changed fairly early on. And at first, I think we mentioned this in an interview where it didn't have that mechanic. It was kind of just used in the most normal melee version.
Home Depot axe.
Yeah, Home Depot axe. And when the recall attack came in, it just opened up a lot of possibilities because as everyone that's playing has kind of found out, it's like, well, you can hit guys on the way when it comes back. So we kind of took that to a couple of things where we actually start doing some, we call them recall attacks. So later on in the skill tree, you'll start to see some attacks that actually incorporate being in bare hand and then recalling the axe in a kind of stylish way, during attack to keep your combos up. So. Yeah, it's been fun.
Yeah, no, I mean obviously the axe throw is a huge part of this game, and we also opened the doors up for puzzles and other sorts of things that you could do with that mechanic. It really changed the whole development, and it did happen fairly early on, but not right away. In the beginning, it was just a Home Depot axe trying to figure out how to
And you have that ability as soon as the game starts.
Yes,
so,
yeah.
Like that first fight that you get in, you walk up to a dude, it's like, I'm gonna hit you in the face and freeze you with the axe, then I'm gonna go to him and he's gonna catch these hands, and I'm gonna recall the axe when somebody gets between me and the enemy. There's so much diversity in combat in this game. You guys have really outdone yourselves.
And that's that strategy and sort of tactics that we started to incorporate, which you didn't have in previous God of War games. You kind of just charged in, and what happened, and I think so much of what we've been able to do in this game is allowing people to enter into the fight and start to strategize, and then change tactics even in mid-fight if something goes awry or they find a new opportunity. So it's great.
Job well done, gentlemen.
Thank you.
Thank you.
It's terrific. And we're getting a look here, if you're just joining us, at God of War. Can we get a time check coming up here soon? I know we're making progress towards this PlayStation Store launch later tonight. It's in just about, an hour? A little less than an hour? We'll find out here shortly. But gentlemen, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And we're actually going to be getting a look here at Photom 40 minutes. Oh, you see that down there? Wow, amazing.
So close.
So close.
5 years of work coming down to 40 minutes.
You know, I say we just sit here and stare at that clock the rest of the time. Actually, we've got a lot more to show you guys, starting with photo mode. Now, you may be aware that photo mode is indeed coming to God of War post-launch. We wanted to bring somebody in to give us a little tour. So let's bring on Jeet here. Jeet, come on down. Gentlemen, thank you so much for joining us.
Guys.
Jeet, welcome.
Thank you, guys.
Yes, indeed. So, hey, photo mode's coming to God of War.
That's right.
How about that?
Wow,
Who knew?
That's awesome.
Who knew? So let's get a look here. I mean, photo mode's kind of the new sensation out there. I mean, a lot of great games have been implementing it. Corey, was there kind of a moment for you where you were like, we've got to have photo mode?
I mean, we talked about it early on.
Yeah?
This is something cool. We love it in all the other games, so it was definitely something we were really interested in doing, but I was prioritizing, along with Jeet, prioritizing the stability and sort of the fun of the game. So it became one of those things we just kept kind of kicking that can down a little bit further because we wanted every last second to make the game as good as it can be. So Jeet and his team of phenomenal engineers basically in the end of a marathon mustered up a bunch of strength to be able to kind of put this together after running for 4 years on something.
On behalf of everyone, thank you for mustering.
Yes, thank you for mustering.
Thank you for mustering.
Good mustering, good mustering. Now tell us a little bit about what we're seeing right here and kind of how this works.
Yeah, I mean, so it's you know, photo mode, again, giving players pretty much choice, right? I mean, the theme of this entire sort of journey for a lot of us has been about giving players choice. And so I think for us, the game itself, you know, very early on, we knew we wanted it to be an art showcase, right? And so just adding photo mode, again, you know, very early on making that decision is to allow players to enjoy that art, enjoy the character artwork, the environment artwork, really up close and personal. I mean, combat is so fast and fluid and moving.
Right.
You know, the game itself is paced in a way where, yeah, there are these quiet moments, but if you want to get up close and personal with the character that is so well detailed and so sort of, you know, refined in terms of its quality, I mean, that's where photo mode comes in, and you know, lots of options again to adjust the camera settings, the depth of field, you know, provide these sort of borders, logos. You know, again, the team just not satisfied.
Yeah.
All of this done, and then no, we want to take the time with photo mode, give it its sort of you know, strong effort, and release something that I think the fans are really going to love.
It looks fantastic. All of the options look fantastic. Oh, and you can remove.
Oh.
Yeah, so yeah, just again within the character screen, again giving the option of removing characters. So you can just take those environment sort of shots if you want. Beautiful vistas in the game to just, you know, and then apply sort of filters and all sorts of stuff as well on top of that. So.
Getting a look here at photo mode coming now. It's coming post-launch,
yes,
clearly.
That's correct.
No further details on availability.
Yeah,
just
stay tuned for that one.
At a later date.
Letting it simmer a little bit more.
This is
and,
a true exclusive first look here. And this is looking really cool. Just tons of different filters, tons of different options to play with. Yeah, I mean, this is great news. And I know a ton of people. Yeah, I manage PlayStation Blog, and we do the share of the week thing with the community, where we sort of give them a community photography challenge every week across different games. So I have a hunch I know what the next one's going to be. But I thought it might be fun. You know, the game is such a gorgeous-looking game, and you guys have been working on it for so long. I mean, have any of the employees here at Santa Monica Studio gotten a chance to play around with photo mode? Do we have any sort of samples?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, we've.
Oh, cool.
We definitely have. I think selected a couple of pictures. I think.
Yeah, let's check them out.
Off as well, in terms of some of the pictures of the developers themselves have taken. And
gorgeous.
I mean, it's been really interesting to see people that you would even normally want to engage in photo mode have been spending days, you know, just taking these amazing shots and really showcasing sort of.
Hold up.
What is?
Wait, hold up.
What's going on here?
Is that a seagull?
Yeah.
A smile?
Yeah, I like the idea that you can actually go in there and create those sort of the classic family fishing photographs, right? So you can actually change the expressions. Kratos can smile, man. Inside, he's got a little bit of a smile going on. So you can actually change the facial expressions of the characters in various areas for the shot. So it's awesome.
Not what I was expecting, I have to confess. Yeah, that's cute. That's good. Well, we got some more here. Yeah, let's check it out. That's not something I normally see.
Yeah, again, just another one of those
showing that range of
fun sort of features that we decided to add, and again, giving players that opportunity to to engage and create
Kratos
have some fun too.
Kratos has that look like, Atreus, did you just fart?
Wow, that is, it's a world exclusive. I mean, what else can I say? I mean, photo mode, and it's got it all. I mean, unbelievable.
Yeah, we're really excited to see it.
I bet.
He's like, yeah, I did just fart. Just crop dusted everybody.
All right, well, that was a first look there at photo mode, which is coming to God of War at a later time frame. Stay tuned for more details on that. Jeet, thank you so much for the tour on that.
brother.
Yeah.
And actually, coming up next, we're going to be joined by no less the composer Bear McCreary. But before we get to Bear, let's take a closer look at the creation of the soundtrack for God of War.
The purpose of the music when you're playing the game is to give you emotional subtext. It's giving you hints of what the characters are feeling at that point. And that's what I think draws us to the gameplay and makes that connection with the characters. And in this case, we tried to do something that was really reflective of Kratos and the new setting of the game. Hi, my name is Peter Scaturo. I'm one of the music producers on God of War, and this is the DNA for the new God of War score. There's a particular blueprint that I think we can all look back and agree makes the God of War sound. There's an epic choir, there's some big strings, and there's some big brass. So what we wanted to do for this installment of the game was keep that DNA intact, but also give it a fresh sound and a fresh point of view. And that fresh point of view came from the choir and the language that we had the choir sing. And that was Old Norse instead of the traditional Latin that a typical choir would sing. So in order to do that, we had to go to a place in the world in which folks can sing and can also sing in Old Norse, and that was Iceland. Modern Icelandic hasn't changed very much in the last 1,000 years, so it's very close to Old Norse. However, there are some differences, and we did hire a linguist in Iceland that helped us with the translation from English to Old Norse. The choir that we're working with, their name is Skola Cantorum, and they're very popular in Iceland. They actually sing at the church that's on the top of the hill in Reykjavik. Hearing Bear's initial demo for the new God of War theme, what caught our ear right from the get-go was the low choir that was used in the opening notes. It's the type of sound that you get with many, many singers, although it's very difficult to find a large group of singers that can sing in that low register. One of the things that we did was we recorded the Icelandic choir first because we wanted to have the authenticity in the pronunciation of the lyrics. Once we got that down, we took our crew to London and we worked with another choir there that specializes in sort of these bass notes. So we had another choir sing on top of the sonic blueprint that was already created by the Icelandic choir. What we're hoping that fans take away from this is a sense of authenticity that comes through in the music and its support of the new environment that this game is set in.
Hey everybody, welcome back. We're counting down to the launch of God of War tonight on PlayStation Store at 9 p.m. Pacific, midnight Eastern time. And actually we're here at Santa Monica Studio, and a lot of the members of the development team are actually here right now watching us live, sort of joining in the celebration. I think we've got a feed. There we go. Oh,
Yo,
yeah.
your game comes out in 30
awesome.
minutes. How awesome is that?
Absolutely incredible night. I mean, this game has gotten obviously, critical praise like is rarely seen. And I know a lot of folks are watching on live.playstation.com right now.
Speaking of watching on live.playstation.com,
Yeah?
we're giving away a free avatar, but people need to know how to get it. How are they going to know how to get this free avatar, Corey?
So before E3 2016, I was tasked with figuring out what Kratos' son's name was going to be. And I am a famous procrastinator. And we went to E3 with me not choosing Atreus' name, and I was still trying to figure everything out. So I was like, whatever, we just call him Boy in the game anyway. So no one's really gonna say anything. And I think because we didn't say anything, one of the outlets just gave him a name. So I remember reading one article where it's like Kratos has a son and his name is Charlie. And then it started to spread like wildfire. Like everybody started calling him Charlie. I was like, man, this is what you get for procrastinating.
Yeah.
So we actually route that back into the game in some way. There might be a character named Charlie.
Fascinating.
In the game.
That might be. Is that? I think
sounds special. It sounds
real
special.
special.
Sounds all I
Charlie.
know.
Charlie's name
All I
may
know.
be useful at live.playstation.com if you're watching on Twitch or Facebook.
We're terrible at being subtle.
We're terrible at being subtle.
Like really bad at it.
And we're so bad at it. We've got renowned composer Bear McCreary just sitting here with this contraption.
Excellent.
Charlie.
Right, talking about Charlie. This has nothing to do with music. Come on.
We're going to get back to that contraption in just a second because I want to talk about this. We've got the God of War soundtrack.
Oh, this is so
Look at that. Show that thing off.
I'm going to show this off. Look at this. This is the LP cover. It's
that is
beautiful.
a beautiful look.
Absolutely beautiful design that actually references a part of the game and also shows a nice little father-son moment inside of it. Which way am I? There we go.
There you go. That's what you want there.
I have a future in this kind of
There you go.
Right. Okay, I don't have a future in this at all.
So the vinyl and the CD
And
are
the
going
CD.
live
There's no
tonight.
right here.
They are going live tonight on Mondo Tees. So if you're interested in picking up what is sure to be a great collector's item, bit of memorabilia there to celebrate your God of War.
Yeah. MondoTees.com.
MondoTees.com.
Fantastic.
And
So
get that
good.
free avatar, live.playstation.com.
That's
Charlie
correct.
is the name.
Charlie.
If you're on Facebook or Twitter, you got to come to live.playstation.com to get that free avatar.
Now, Bear McCreary.
Yeah, man. Can I see this? I haven't even held this yet.
It's a sight to behold.
I mean, I love having music out on vinyl, and the fact that this score is out and in a presentation that looks like this, it just kind of blows my mind, man. Because I
So
grew
cool.
up listening to records
Yeah.
right at the tail end of records.
Right.
You know, and I never thought I'd have a record out, and here.
And now you have like 9 million records out.
Yep.
Not one like this.
No, this is unique, right?
It's very special.
Yeah.
Now, Bear, I know you're a name I've been seeing for a very long time. I mean, there are a ton of great TV shows, games, movies that you've been associated with, so I was very excited to hear you.
It's actually easier to name the shows you're not
Yeah.
associated with.
It's true.
Maybe.
How did you find your way onto God of War?
I don't know, Corey. How did I find my way on?
I drugged you and then dragged you into the
Yeah.
studio.
I feel like I've been on like forever.
Right.
Like it was so early. There really wasn't a lot for me to see. I mean, when we first started looking at things, so it was
just stories. Like when you came in, we had some drawings and we had some stories, but we talked for like 2.5 hours. It was Pete Scaturo was in that video that we just saw, and he was the one that had suggested it and said, you know, what are you thinking about music? And I kind of threw out a few things, but I said, you know, what are you thinking? And he wouldn't tell me who you were. He just said, I think I have an idea.
Oh,
right?
yeah?
And I was like, oh, he had a sly smile. And then he brought you in, and I was like, oh my gosh, giant Battlestar Galactica fan.
So say we
My
all.
son named Hilo because of Battlestar Galactica.
There you go.
How
That's a
fortuitous.
Battlestar fan, folks.
Right. That's a serious nerd right here.
Yeah.
Right, and I geeked out, and I was
Didn't
very...
know that about you, Corey.
Yeah, no, really? I
Just
freaking
learned
wear
that.
it all over myself. But yeah, like I was very nervous when you came in our first meeting, and I was just...
But you didn't show it.
Really?
If
'Cause I
anything,
was just nervously chatting.
well, because you were telling me this story that was so like lengthy and involved. I started taking notes like, okay, so wait, who are the different factions? And the different guys, wait, slow down. And you're like telling me an offshoot, and then after a while you'd be like, oh, that's not in the game, but like you need to know just
Right.
this part of mythology to understand the context. And we talked for a few hours, and like I wanted to have a campfire.
Yeah.
And just like have s'mores and just like get the story because it was so compelling.
It was great because it was actually very interactive too. It wasn't just me talking about it. You were throwing things in, and actually, even on the fly, we're starting to discuss, like, oh, have you thought about this? Like, that to me was when I said, okay, I really hope he likes me, so that we can do something together, because I felt like we creatively clicked immediately,
Well,
which is awesome.
It was clear right away that we'd need a bunch of themes.
Yeah.
I mean, the fact that I was taking notes meant like we're gonna have to guide people through different areas, through different realms with different characters that have real arcs.
Yeah.
I mean, arcs where you have a theme that is introduced one way, and then it changes, and toward the end of the game, you might hear it in a completely different context.
Yeah, you even started at the very first conversation talking about instrumentation being associated with, this is the mother's sort of instrument, and that instrument would be carried out throughout, even introduced into other songs and other themes. Is beautiful.
Well, it was a really, I was nervous because it's such, first of all, I'm a huge God of War fan.
Oh.
So like the fact that we were even talking about God of War at all, which to Pete's credit, he was trying to keep a straight face with me. So we came in before I met with you, and he's like, yeah, so we talked about percussion and big orchestra and big choirs, and I'm like, uh-huh. And he goes, and what do you know about like mythology? And I was like, Greek mythology? And he's like,
why do you say that?
Why? And then I was like, is this God of War? And he kind of got really quiet. That's when I knew, oh my God.
Of war?
Yeah, it was a really cool experience, and like little did I know that it would be the next 4 years of my life.
Right.
Essentially, like every other day, pitching you stuff and seeing stuff and experimenting and writing themes and
you continually over-delivering, right? That first thing that we asked, we had that first playable, and I said maybe you could write like 2 minutes for this 30 minutes of gameplay.
Do you remember how much I wrote for that?
You wrote the full
35 minutes. It was 35 minutes.
That was amazing.
I was so inspired. Like
awesome.
And I actually wrote this theme because you were challenging me to just redefine what the franchise could be and make something that's so different it would just blow people's minds. So it was just a small little ensemble. It had hurdy-gurdy, a nickel harpa, a few percussionists, and it had this tune, this like really sad tune. Da, 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 da. And that was the Kratos theme.
Yeah.
And a little while later, we realized that like all that stuff was cool. It was just not enough. It was too far in an extreme. So we like tabled that theme. I kind of just, in my mind, I threw it out for like a year. And then I wrote the Kratos theme that we have now. And only when we started talking about the real character arc and the family story, the cinematics, that I realized like I need a theme that's pretty. I need a sad theme for him and his son. And I was like, what about my first thing that I sketched? What about that? And that ended up being arguably as important in the game, if not more so, than the main theme, So it all kind of, came back to that first meeting.
So let's talk about this elephant in the room.
Yeah, exactly.
What is that?
So this is the hurdy-gurdy. It's one of the ethnic instruments that I've written for. It happens to be the one that I play. The other ones I wrote for nickel harpa, which is similar in construction. I wrote for the Hardanger fiddle. These are Nordic instruments. The hurdy-gurdy is from the Middle East and Europe. It dates back at least 1,000 years. There's murals like from the 10th century with a thing that looks kind of like this.
Crazy.
This one's actually from Sweden. Mine is from, it's from Northern Europe, so much so that when I had it shipped here, I had it custom made, that the wood had never been in humidity or heat before, and it expanded just enough that the entire thing quit working. I thought it was broken. And I found the hurdy-gurdy guy in town, believe it or not.
There's a guy in town.
Believe it or not, there's actually one in San Diego too. So one time he was in Paris, and I was like, now I'm screwed.
I don't have a hurdy-gurdy
There's
guy.
2 guys in Southern California. That's how you know you're living in the right part of the world.
Right.
No, he said he just sanded everything down because he was like, the wood had never been in an environment like Los Angeles.
Oh, wow. That's awesome.
But this instrument has 3 strings, 2 of which create a drone that don't stay in tune. There it is. And then there's a melodic string. Hold on a second. Let's get that drone working. So it's got a cool. It's got a cool sound.
Like
and it's,
melancholy a little bit.
Yeah, and
bittersweet.
Yeah, and it can create a lot of different effects, like that detuned effect. There's a realm that we go to a lot. That, like, with enough reverb and a little bit of distortion, it just sounds like a creature from the depths of hell.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's
You know what I mean?
Not a happy place.
And I used it to create a lot of different colors. I used it to play melodies. But it was sort of a starting point. I mean, I remember when we were talking about, you know, instruments like this, and I knew there would be a home for it. You know. Plus, for me, it's just I love playing stuff.
It's eclectic, and I mean, it's just got such unique sound.
Yeah, it's cool. So I'm really curious to see as gamers get into the game, like where they hear it, because all of the instruments in the game have thematic usages. I use them in certain realms. I use them for certain characters. We use languages very specifically, text very specifically. So for people that want to be like super music nerds, there's a lot to digest there, you know.
And we're happy to do so. Bear McCreary, thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks.
Let's get a quick look. Let's get a quick time check going on. Do we know how long we have to go until God of War comes out on PlayStation Store? Because that's really all that's on my mind right now. I saw a flash. I saw a flicker. Download. Click here to buy now. There we go.
28 minutes.
28 minutes.
Less than 30 minutes to go until
so
God of
weird to
War.
see that countdown be so small.
It's incredible.
When it used to be.
Right. Actually, no. I have a few more things to do. So if we
I was gonna say, are you
I'm
still
gonna add a
working
few
on
more
it?
things to the game.
You got 28 more minutes to
Like,
make
man,
your
if you
changes.
don't release this game, so I get on these 6.
Bear, thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks, guys.
And because we are here at the lovely Santa Monica studio, been around for a long time as part of the PlayStation family, we thought it might be fun to go on a little tour of the facilities. So let's check it out.
Hello everybody, got a little surprise peek into the heart of the studio. This is the room that represents the timeline of all the different titles that Santa Monica Studios has published over the past 17 years. You might be asking, what are all these little black bags? Well, these are little gift bags that we have for the team today that no one has seen. So you're the first dev team on the controllers. Isn't that awesome with our little snake? And of course, you can't go anywhere without Kratos socks. Art books, phenomenal collection of imagery from the game that our wonderful artists have put together over the course of many years. This spot right here will be the spot for our new God of War. So we'll be putting this up in the next few days. We have a block ceremony that takes place outside in the lobby. And what we do is we bring the entire team into the lobby space, and Corey and Yumi will put the block on the wall. And as you can see, it represents all the different titles that we've released. This is a really important piece to the studio in terms of stamp of we did it. So looking forward to that. So this is the second floor of the studio. And what we see here is a massive overlook to the team. And who's that? Is that Mr. Barlog? Look, he's reading the Last of Us comic book. Let's go check out what Mr. Barlog's doing.
Oh, that's good. I'm totally gonna steal that. That's good too. I'm gonna steal. Oh hi! Oh hi!
Yes.
How's it going? All right. So what's going on?
Well, I was just showing people straight through there, right next to the Ascension pack front, key
Little
art.
empty space right there.
Yes. So this Friday, Thursday night, I think it is to be exact.
Thursday night.
That will be slammed up on that wall, and it's the representation of we actually shipped this game.
Yep.
I'm heading
High
to
fives.
you.
We're gonna
95s.
tag.
High 95s.
High 95.
Thank
I
you,
like that.
everybody.
That's so good.
See you.
Bye, Shannon. Now it's my turn to take over and give you guys an amazing tour of this studio. This is our cinematic animation department as well as our gameplay animation department. And they are hard at work on something I'm not going to talk about, or maybe they're just refreshing Metacritic and checking out the reviews. Who knows? And over here, my favorite group, the visual development group, the people I spend most of the beginning of the game mapping out the visuals of all of the game, as well as now our UI, implementation, and creation group. They made all the menus, every single thing that was sort of a UI and HUD element was created by these magicians right here. Wonderful, wonderful work. They still believe the game is not out yet, and it's still being worked on, so don't tell them. Let's go this way. These little pods right here are the audio bay guys. They have the greatest offices in the entire studio. Climate controlled, colored lighting. That's why the audio is so good in this game, because they have the pimpest offices ever. Now we're out on the floor. This is where all the magic happens. So this area here is the lighting, environment art group, all through here. They are the magic makers. I'm simply the person running around from desk to desk saying, make it more blue, which they totally don't love that. I don't ever recommend saying things like that. Level design. Level design, the group of people that actually come up with the gameplay from a moment to moment. Incredibly talented people in this group. We've been getting a little bit of kudos for our visual effects, especially our particles. This is our visual effects group right here. These are amazing artists who create splendiferous, which is not a word, but you know what? It's my world, so I'm gonna say whatever I want. Kind of effects for this game. It is absolutely amazing. We have been very fortunate to get incredibly talented people throughout all of the development process that has made this game just sing. Gameplay systems, combat right here, right? This is the rubber meets the road sort of magic. The sort of amazing things that we were able to do on the core controls themselves were done by everybody over here. G. Truff, our gameplay lead, working with everybody here. He is actually still working because I also have not told him that the game is done. All right, we're gonna keep going and let him continue to work as we sort of finish this entire thing off, going to my office, my little sanctum sanctorum where I hide from the team when things aren't going so well and then slam my door when I'm very angry. I'm just kidding, I don't do any of that. Actually, I probably do. If you were to talk to other people, that would be exactly what they would tell you that I do. Okay. Thank you for coming on this tour of Santa Monica Studios, basically my home away from home. I'm so proud of this studio and so proud of the thing that we've done. I and everybody from Santa Monica cannot wait until you all get your hands on this game, which should be very, very soon. So please accept our heartfelt thanks for appreciating and sort of participating in this back and forth that we have together as game makers and players. We are so excited to be a part of this community, and thank you for playing.
All right.
Coming back.
All right. Well, that was Corey. Nice job.
I'm everywhere.
Shannon.
I'm everywhere.
Thank you.
You are everywhere.
Right.
And you're right
Hello.
here, too.
Yes.
Got a couple new guests with us. We've got Worldwide Studios Chairman Sean Layden. Always a pleasure, sir.
Congratulations, everybody.
That's right.
Thank
and we
you.
have Shannon Studstill here, the studio head here at Santa Monica. Nice job on that tour, both of you. Team effort.
Yeah.
Team effort.
Nailed it.
Video.
Knuckle bump.
Knuckle bump.
Like, don't leave me hanging.
Right.
Right.
I was complaining
gonna
to Sonny
jump
all the time.
I was gonna jump. So Corey, we have to ask, new God of War, why the new realm, why the new mythos? Take us through that.
Well, when we started talking years and years and years ago, 175 years ago, about this, I think we knew from the beginning we needed to make some big changes.
Okay.
And that meant taking every aspect of the game and writing it up on a board and seeing really what is the most critical elements and what can we take, flip on its head, reinvent, and reimagine to make a much different end result that still kind of had that DNA of what God of War was.
Awesome.
all
So
about.
I've heard that there was one piece of concept art that started this whole process.
Oh, yeah.
Is that true?
Jose Cabrera's, he actually had 2 images in the beginning. And
do we have it? Oh, so this is...
wait, we're
this
talking
is
about-
original God
This is
of War.
original God of War.
Way back in the day.
Right.
And now this is the Jose Cabrera piece.
Yeah.
And this piece was a paragraph and a Skype call with Jose where I thought I just totally fumbled the ball. I was terribly explaining myself. But he was able to absorb everything. And these first drawings that he did really kind of gave us our true north.
So this is like the Genesis.
This is the beginning.
Well, the genesis happens many months prior.
Well,
and
sure.
he knew where this needed to go when we were just even in discussions before he was actually back working with the team. So to me, that's the real core of where the vision started. And I think it's a gut thing, right? You just knew you had it in you.
Yeah. So, I mean, at that phase, maybe it was a gut thing that I couldn't verbalize very well. So I had a few fragmented sentences that I could bring out and say, like, oh, you know, he's going to have a kid. And that would just spark like, what?
Maybe that was just me going, oh, that's a great way to go.
Yeah, that
and you knew that
sounds
throw the
great.
kid in there, and that's
you're on
going
a
to just make it
phone
work.
and just tuning me out. That's great.
Corey, I gotta mention, I'd be remiss if I didn't mention this thing you're holding.
Oh,
here.
yes.
What is
yes,
this?
yes. Okay, so I had this idea that exploration was a very big part of the new game. You want to hold on to this?
Sure.
You're gonna.
I'll just
Shannon, we're
flip
gonna
through
do
it
this
as
together. This is great.
do like a Vanna
So the thought I had was that we were gonna create this book that had all of our sort of inspirational pieces of artwork. It had a short story that was written in the beginning. It had a comic book, and we had this book sort of professionally made by a book creator, Jessica Chrysler, who actually bound this with real leather and everything. We put it in this box, and the pitch I was going to do was inviting Sean and Shuhei and Scott into a room, and I would put this book on the table, and I would not talk about it or reference it. And knowing that they are inherently curious, or at least hoping, because otherwise my pitch would flop, they were going to, on their own, get curious, wonder what was in the box, open the box, and start flipping through the book. And then halfway through the pitch, I would ever so gracefully pivot and say, exploration being a big part of this new franchise, you've actually partaken in a tiny little exploration experiment in which your curiosity was piqued. You opened the book, and then you were rewarded. You were rewarded for your curiosity. And that kind of is the foundational aspect of the game, is this concept of rewarding the player for being curious. What's over there? Well, maybe an entire level that we didn't even tell you about.
You have a comic in here?
Yeah.
Wow, that's cool. So is this sort of like a Bible of sorts for you? Is it kind of help ground the game and the development?
I think it also was we were making a pretty big pivot team-wise, right? And
yeah.
A lot of what Corey wanted to see, it's really difficult to articulate that in a single setting, although I think you did it a few times, right?
Many times.
This really embodied for the tremendous group of creatives that were ready and raring to go to help with the pivot, but they needed to understand where we were headed, and this was a really good sort of rock that we were able to share with everybody and get them really pumped up about.
It actually really did work out in our favor on that one. We didn't plan it, but we, when we inherited 100 and something people way earlier than I was expecting, we were able to finish the book. The book was expected to be finished, say, in 3 months. And then you said, hey, I need you to finish in 2 weeks. And then I told everybody else and then said, let's buckle up because we got a lot of work ahead of us. And we were able to kind of get it done. And this was cool because Neverending Story was kind of an inspiration for me. So this has that little bit of feel of that classic book, Neverending Story, which sort of just promises this fantastic adventure.
How about that? That's tremendous.
That's really awesome.
Sean, what did you think as you're taking all this in? Corey's vision, what Santa Monica's looking to do?
I remember coming down to the studio and Corey took me through the first early pitch of God of War, and we got into a room and he threw a bolt against the door, so no one's gonna get out without hearing the whole thing. But they had water
Captive audience.
and they had snacks, so it was okay.
Okay.
But Corey took us through it in a completely new vision. I mean, we've been in the God of War business for quite a long time. I remember when I was in 2005, when I was in London, and we're looking at God of War and bringing it over to Europe and thinking, oh, this is fantastic, it's awesome, it's gruesome. We'll have to dial it down for the Germans. But it's going to be a fantastic new franchise to come out. But now seeing what Corey had that day when we were sitting in the studios in Santa Monica, about 20, 25 years on, and he's a different Kratos, and we're coming at it in a different place, in a completely new gameplay and game style. It was very risky. It was hugely divergent from where it had been before. There was a lot of art. The room was covered with spec art on the walls to take us through that story, and Corey wove that thread and took us through and tied it around our ankles and pulled us through that story. And by the end of it, it was something that I wanted to see, that we all wanted to see. It was the ambition was super high. The bar to clear was incredible. And he was like the pole vault guy who says, 15, no, I won't take 15. 16 feet, no, I won't take 16 feet. Call me when it's 17.5.
Go big or go home.
Right.
He was going to hit it in one leap, and we couldn't be more thrilled where we gotten to. It's been a great journey. It's been a hard journey, but the best ones are always hard. And looking at what am I looking at? 17 minutes to go.
17 minutes.
Scary.
and then it's gonna
exciting.
But congratulations to Santa Monica Studios. Congratulations to Corey.
And the team.
And the team.
Yes.
Has worked really hard on this. We can't say enough about that.
Now, fun fact, I have it on good authority that we actually have some footage. This is rare footage of that green light pitch and some of the very first footage that anyone ever really laid eyes on outside of Santa Monica Studios. So I propose that we fire that up here and we see what we can see.
Yes.
Let's take a look here. Oh, here we go. And I think that's
Oh,
Atreus.
yeah. That's Atreus without hair before we had our hair
How early
technique.
is this? How early is this footage?
This is like the second year, halfway through the second year of development. Now that's E3 2016.
So yeah,
this is the comparison.
This was
between it.
this video that we're seeing here, the left side of the screen. This is sort of a rough take on what became the E3 2016 reveal, right?
Yeah, when we got everybody on the team, we inherited that 100 people. I wasn't really ready. We didn't have a lot of stuff designed. So there was that, hey, well, we have that short story of the hunt. That might end up being the beginning of the game. You know what? Let's just do that. And I was like, cool, I'm off the hook a little bit. We can get some stuff done. So
That's
we
when he
really...
took his month-long vacation.
Right, and I was like, I'm out, later. No, but what's fantastic is in God of War history, we always do the first level last. And in this game, we ended up just doing the first level like 56 times throughout the entire duration of the whole project. So you can see that we've really refined over and over and over again. And, you know, at one point I really liked Atreus without hair, the sort of mini-me thing, but you really were, Shannon was really against it.
I'm Shannon on this one.
Yeah, I know. I get it. I get it. You're all right because him with hair is wonderful. It's the hair.
There it is.
graphics
Look at
they were
that.
able to do is amazing. Yes, they do look glorious. But what was cool about this is the sort of first introduction of taking Atreus out on the hunt would terminate with him getting the deer and having that sort of missed moment. And we were able to transition into another sequence in which you'd actually see, for the first time in the history of God of War, Kratos eating, right?
Eating.
So I was fascinated with this idea of doing it. We never ended up keeping it, right? Because it was a little awkward and weird. We were like, he's eating.
Killed all those gods, didn't have to eat.
Right. But what was cool about it was they hunted the deer, and instead of just leaving it there, they actually used it. They ate it. So it was a nice little cycle of life.
This is fascinating to get this kind of look into development. I mean, there's so many things here that are very similar. Look at this, but also radically different.
Yeah, I mean, you can see the lighting, the
Yeah.
engine. It was all still very early, right? And the models were still taking shape, and we were figuring out, really just getting our sea legs in all of this.
And correct me if I'm wrong, but it seems like the color palette went from yellow to blue.
Right. Yeah. I mean, that was a product also of the lighting being in its infancy. So,
Yeah.
you know, the shadowing and sort of the full rendering engine and fog really was not online. So we were using an older version and just kind of cobbling it together as we would then move ahead and actually build the real sort of rendering engine we had.
I love this though. The broad beats are all there, you know.
Yeah.
I mean, it's so interesting to see that. I appreciate you showing that to all of us. But such a memorable reveal. I mean, one of the greatest reveals in gaming history, I would argue.
Oh,
I mean, this just brought the house down at E3.
It did. I was row 8. Sitting in row 8.
It's funny because when I was sitting up there, I had no idea if people were cheering or if that was the sound effects and the sort of music playing. So as we couldn't hear it very well, so I'm looking over at Kevin who's sitting next to me. I'm like, are they cheering or is that the music? And he's like, no, I think they're cheering. I'm like, sweet.
We have a little recap, a little post-mortem on that moment coming up here shortly, but that's actually not the only piece of early rare footage we have from God of War. We've got another slice of actually gameplay footage, very, very early, green light footage. So let's check that out now, take a little trip.
There it is.
Yeah.
Eating in his hand. They just finished eating the deer.
He doesn't waste skills.
Right.
I'm sitting
Is he the chew like 32 times before swallowing kind of guy?
He's a really relaxed eater, which you wouldn't expect. But I mean, he takes his time.
And Atreus is walking away, so maybe he's a vegetarian.
So this is cool because we were going to do the no-cut camera, we were looking at being able to have all of the menu systems take place inside the game. So when you would actually change out different moves, you would do that inside the game. But
on the axe blade.
Yeah.
Wow.
It proved to be a little bit too cumbersome and difficult to figure out while getting everything else done.
Now this is interesting too, and I see a lot of human enemies. There may or may not be human enemies in the final game, but I mean that's not as much of the focus. I'm seeing a lot of humans here.
Yeah, this was, we kind of worked out our bipedal characters first.
Okay.
So everybody was built on this sort of same bipedal rig that we were animating in the beginning, and then we would tackle creatures after we kind of got all of that stuff
Got it.
working. And this was the early portion of really trying to get, what did it feel like to make that axe in hand stick and feel heavy and weighty, and then started really exploring the fantastic axe throwing, being able to put it away and then go, look, I love this move. We never ended up using it, it's a little bit long, but really good. Yes. That statue actually survived and made it into the final game.
Oh, he about to get it.
Yeah, I mean, this is just, I love this sort of history of game development stuff, and really a treat to be able to see this rare footage here. Oh, look at this.
Yeah, he getting that 2-piece in the biscuit right now.
And it's like, from a development perspective, this is like our sketch for what could the future look like. We knew this wasn't really the final look of everything, but it allowed us to explore, what is it like when Atreus has sort of autonomous moves? And in this case, it would be Atreus using Kratos' reactions and setups, and then hop over,
nice.
Nail that guy. So that was really good, but it proved very difficult to set that kind of scenario up. So then we started making the autonomous moves be more out in the field. And these are the more directed shots. That climbing sequence and this area actually ended up making it almost exactly in the game, the way that it is now, because we ended up animating the introduction to the ogre over the course of like a month and a half to 2 months. It took a long time to get that done. Let's see. Almost shot for shot there, and then he comes out, starts talking. He does not like solicitors.
He does not look happy. He is not happy.
So cool.
Wow.
Yeah, and this animation really was transferred over from our green light to the final game in this same area.
Wow.
Except here, I got the thing I really wanted. So when this camera pans around, I kept saying more enemies, right? And then they'd put one more in. I'd be like, no, like 10 more. I want like 100 enemies in there. It's insane. But it looked cool.
It looked cool. Yeah, that's great.
This is crazy.
I mean, it looks good here. I mean, the final game looks 100 times more polished, but fascinating stuff.
Yeah.
Thank you for letting us reveal this for everybody.
Yeah, fun.
That's great. And while we're taking a little walk down memory lane here, you were referencing E3 earlier. I think we have a little footage about that just to kind of get your thoughts on what it was like to be part of just this big reveal here. So we'll roll that. We'll take a look. That was a really, really interesting E3. Shannon, I know you. That's near and dear to you as well.
Oh yeah, it was amazing to see all the work that went into it, and then see the fan response the way that they did. It was not expected. That one moment of walking out of the shadow that Kratos had, and that's the defining moment that we're all really on the edge of our seats for, and it just exploded. It was a really special moment. This is it right here. You can see Corey down.
Yeah, you can see Corey, in the lower right. So he was actually playing this part of the game.
Playing live.
Yeah.
One of the opera seats, the balconies up there.
Balcony, yeah.
And I rehearsed that playthrough for like 2 months. 2
I
months
bet.
of practicing over and over again. Everybody on the team saying, I really hope you don't screw it up. And like watching me play and going, giving me all these pointers.
And meanwhile, no one on the team knowing what the actual E3 event was going on.
Oh yeah, we had to keep it a secret. It was so on lockdown,
people.
which was that lockdown was great because we did not have any leaks. Like that was truly an amazing moment and a surprise because nobody got any information prior. And it seemed ridiculous to some people to say that we couldn't tell them, but I'm so happy because it was amazing.
The team was actually lifted from it, right?
Yeah.
They knew all of what we had produced, but they hadn't seen it in that sort of live form, and that the surprise of it all, I think, really also helped the morale.
There's a certain power when you have a 70-plus piece orchestra in the pit at the Shrine Auditorium playing a soundtrack that no one had ever heard before, and all the speculation going through the room trying to figure out what game is this? What is this?
Is that Horizon? Is that? It doesn't
Yes.
look like Horizon. You could hear people speculate, or even watch the streams. You watch the reaction streams of people, and they are all speculating the same thing.
That's what, right, every time we got into one of those really challenging points within production, you walk the floor and they're watching reaction streams.
Oh, yeah.
Just to lift.
That's the uplift.
Yeah.
Yeah.
E3 2016 reaction videos were developer crack for us.
Nice.
I mean, I watched quite a few of them myself.
Yeah.
I mean, they really were electrifying.
Yeah.
So E3 2016 showing the game, such a surprise to all of us. got any more surprises you want to tell us about? Maybe voice actors that might be in the game.
Surprise.
Yeah, Corey, any
voice actors?
Any voice actors we don't know about?
You know, there's these two guys. And they are in literally everything. And I had the extreme pleasure of being able to work with them. Nolan North and Troy Baker.
You don't say.
Are
Really?
two absolute dynamos that play a couple of characters. Maybe even one of them plays a couple of characters on his own in this game. And I gotta tell you, like, being in the sound booth with those guys is very hard to get any work done because they are on point and just doing sort of, you know, improvisation the entire time. You call action, they go right into what they're doing, and then when you call cut, they go right back into the improvisation that you're just like, I couldn't stop laughing the entire time with these guys. They're amazing.
So there you go, Troy Baker, Nolan North. They are
Heard here on the stream first.
God of War. That's right. Well,
we're breaking news right now.
We've been breaking news all night long, Sean.
All night long. 4 minutes, 36 seconds. Come on.
Yeah, okay, we got that clock up. I was about to ask. I mean, it is. Corey, I want to zoom into your head here for a second. You're less than 5 minutes from this thing. This thing you've worked for so long. What is this? What's going through that head right now?
Oh God, oh God. You know, it's amazing. And I know sort of releases started in New Zealand all the way working our way to sort of Los Angeles for the final release moment. And this has just been amazing. I mean, I'm so incredibly, incredibly proud of being able to work with a team here at Santa Monica. I am my best self because of every single person here. And I don't think words alone can truly express the gratitude I have. We would not have even a fraction of what we have here today without them. It's a very special thing.
That's powerful.
It starts with you, Corey.
Oh, thank you.
Shannon, I mean, this is a big moment for Santa Monica Studio, no question. I know this is very important to the studio. What's going through your head right now? Just minutes away.
I think it's a big exhale.
Yeah.
It's been a long 5 years, and watching the team perform has been just amazing. You know, watching the ride and the wave, and knowing that we're here and seeing some of the reviews come in. It's a big exhale, and it's a relief and just complete, you know, happiness, I think. I'm very proud of everyone, but I'm also happy. You know, with the creatives, we all came together and really pulled together, as hard and as difficult and as exhilarating as that process is, and we delivered a really, you know, I had a personal sort of hope that we would see a 95, but I didn't quite know that we would actually achieve that. It's just simply because God of War 1 was a 94, so I had it in my head of a little dream of 95, and when that actually happened, because 94 was what was sort of revealed for the first few minutes or first few hours, I guess, and I was coming out of a meeting, and somebody came, I think it was Aaron, came over to me and said, "Did you see what happened?" I was like, "No." He's like, "It's 95," and I was just like, literally kind of walking the floor in tears. Yeah.
I'm sure all of y'all were.
It was crazy.
I remember back to PSX, the most recent one, with the quote from Sean, "Finish the game, Corey."
Yeah, well.
I finished it.
Yeah, you did.
I finished it.
You did, brother. Thank you very much for that.
Sean, any brief thoughts, just as, you know, from the Worldwide Studios perspective, clearly a huge accomplishment.
I think these kinds of moments and these kinds of games come from a place of great challenge, of ambition. Safety doesn't get you the new place. Conservatism doesn't bring you bright light and great stories. To get where we are today, it takes a huge bit of creative center to it, and then a lot of faith, a lot of belief, a lot of confidence. Yes, I gave Corey a bit of stick at PSX a few months ago, which I didn't expect to go quite as meme-like viral as it did.
We just wanted to play it honestly, Corey. That's all it was. Like, please.
I should know better. But I couldn't be more pleased and proud to at least be associated and adjacent and aligned with teams like we have here in Santa Monica, who have brought this great opus to the marketplace in less than 60 seconds.
I don't want to alarm anybody, but we're less than 1 minute away from God of War launching on PlayStation Store here in the United States. It is, just saying those words, I mean, I feel giddy right now. I'm lightheaded.
I think We might have some more guests.
Yeah, we have some more guests.
We're gonna have-
Oh, we have some old friends.
Yeah, we
Come
gotta
on
bring
in.
everybody in.
Yeah, yeah.
Come on in.
Yo, y'all take.
There's room for everybody here. Yeah, take a seat. Take a seat.
Finally got my bonus.
All right. Wow, less than 30 seconds.
Look at you got the action figure and everything. That thing's huge.
That's as big as he is.
Wow, 20 seconds. Can you believe it?
Ah, this is
happening.
Here it is.
Let me see your release dance, Corey. Game's coming out in 20 seconds.
Let's start the
13,
countdown. Yeah.
12,
11, 10,
9, 8, 7, 6,
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Woo! Yeah!
Amazing.
Congratulations, Brian.
Fantastic. Wow. Congrats, everybody. I mean, this is a special night. I mean, for me, I can only imagine what it's like for everybody here who worked on the game for so long. I'm going to step up front so I'm not talking from the shadows. But thanks to everybody who joined us here tonight. God of War is now available on PlayStation Store. Go play it. Just go play.
Get out of here.
Time to play. Thanks for joining us.
Bye-bye, everybody.
Bye-bye.
I've been a big fan of God of War since I was a teenager, and to see it in a Nordic setting really makes me want to wrestle fan of it.
I jump at the chance whenever I get an inquiry about doing a God of War tattoo, and the ones I have done are some of my favorite.
I was inspired by the 2016 E3 trailer. I then learned the Elder Futhark alphabet to be able to translate my two sons' names and my wife's names. I thought it was cool to mash up my favorite gaming series of all time and the people I love most on one tattoo, so hope you like it. Thanks again, Sony Santa Monica.
God of War tiene un valor muy especial en mi vida por el hecho de haber seguido la aventura de Kratos desde sus inicios.
This is my 3D origami Kratos, my best origami so far. Can't wait to become the Kratos again.
God of War has always been about family to me. It's why I've kept playing all these years, why I play today, and what inspired me to make my fan art piece Happier Times.
Being able to take the art that you guys created and bring it to life, just a huge inspiration for me as a cosplayer. I've got my boy Mimir here, and we're ready to play some games.